Okay, so now this is your Excel part 3. I went to my Humble, I opened up my Office 365. I cut that part out because it took forever, but we're here now. So this one is just a continuation of what we did before. I wanted to show you a couple of things. So we're going to I'm going to pretend I'm going on vacation. So I'm going to call this my vacation expenses. And what I'm wanting to do is I want to know how long I want to figure out how long I should go. So that's my title. I'm going to go ahead and merge and center just because I like to. I'm going to make it a little bigger. I'm going to make it bolder. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a spreadsheet of the cost per week, and then I'm going to put in the number of weeks and see how much my actual total is. So I'm going to rent a house because I like to take my dogs. I know that I'm going to have to spend money on food. I know that I'm going to have to spend money on things like souvenirs and fun things. So, like outings, if I want to, like, say I'm somewhere where I could take a day trip to go scuba diving. So, I'm going to put fun stuff. I definitely want souvenirs. What else would I have on vacation? Say I got a little hotspot with like T-Mobile or AT&T. You can get the hotspot, like the little portable ones that then you can use wherever for internet. Just pretend like there's no internet there. Hotspot. I just put internet. Okay, so per week, let's say the house I'm renting costs. Let's say I found a cheap one and it was like $800 per week. I'm not going to put the units right now. If you wanted to, you could put that in parentheses up here, or you could put a units. And a lot of times what people will do, let me insert rows. They'll go under whatever it is. So this is per week. Under that, they would put parentheses dollars, like this to give the units, or just dollars. Okay. And that I would probably want to center. Okay, food, let's say I'm eating out a lot because I'm on vacation. Let's say I'm spending $400 a week in food. That's a lot, but let's pretend. Fun stuff. I want to go on a bunch of tours. I'm going to go zip lining and scuba diving and maybe like sailing or something. Let's say I'm going all out. I'm going to say $400 a week on fun stuff. Souvenirs, I'm just going to put like 100 a week. And internet, maybe it's probably, I don't remember how much they are. I think they're it's either 25 or 50 per month. So let's say per week, let's put 12, 15. Okay, so that's my cost per week. So I can have a total column or a total row down here. So if it's a total, that means I'm just adding up. So we're going to use the sum function. So equals sum. And we would add these up. Okay. We did before. That's one of the built-in formulas. If I did that, okay, so it's $1,750, $1,715 per week. And so now I want to know how many weeks, like how much would it cost if I stayed 2 weeks? How much would it cost if I stayed 3 weeks or 4 weeks or all summer? Like I want to know, and let's say the price per week doesn't change, like it's fairly common. Okay, so then what I'm going to do is for now, I'm just going to say, okay, well, what if I only stayed 2 weeks? So I'm going to put 2 all the way down. And there's a way to do this where we don't have to do it all the way down. I'll show that to you in a minute. That's actually a really handy thing. So if I then wanted to know how much it is like total, I would say, okay, well, it's 2 weeks, $800 per week. So if I multiplied, that's how much it costs for house. And that would be how much it costs for food. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go equals, and I want this times, which is shift 8, this. So notice I didn't type 800 times 2. I clicked on the cell times and I clicked on this cell. That way, if I find a different house and that price changes, then I won't have to type anything in. Everything will update. Same if I change to like 3 weeks, it'll update. So if I hit enter, that gives me this. So that's $1,600 for the house. I want to do the same thing all the way down, but I don't want to have to type in the same formula like every single time. So what I'm going to do, if I click right here, so notice right here I just have like the little arrow cursor, or sometimes if you're in Google Sheets, I think it's like an open plus type cursor. If I go down to the bottom right, this turns into a darker, see how it has like a regular, just a plus sign? If I click that and hold it, notice a little circle shows that I'm holding it, and I drag it all the way down, that's going to copy the formula into each cell. But as it goes down, notice this changes. So like right here, we're in row 5, so it's C5 and D5. When I go down here, this automatically changes C6, D6. So Excel knows that I went one down, so it changed all the references to one down. Okay, so then what I do here is there's nothing right here. If I do that, it's going to add up the two, so it'll be kind of weird. But what I can do, so I'm going to click out in the middle. If I click on this 1715, not like double click, I'm not going to type or anything. If I put Control C, I'm copying the formula in that cell. If I go over here, and I put Control V, like very cool, notice how the number changed. Well, what it did is it took this is the formula here, sum C5 to C9. When I copied it right here, I moved over to column E, it automatically moved over to column E. So now it's E5 to E9. So then I can change, like let's say, okay, well, that's for 2 weeks. What if I went 3 weeks? So I could put 3, but now see I have to put 3 all the way down. And then it updates my total. Okay, so a couple of things we can do. Let's say I don't want to have to input 3 every single time. I just want to refer like one time. Okay, I'm going to put a thing over here, and I'm going to make it as an input. So normally I have inputs, right? So these were input values. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to change those because usually I always color my inputs. I'm going to put number, or let me do the hashtag. So number of weeks. I'm going to make this an input. So it's 3 right now. Let's say I want it to be 4. So I want to stay 4 weeks. I'm going to make this green because it's now an input. Instead of using this column, so I'm just going to go ahead and erase that. What I can do instead is I can multiply, instead of multiplying it by this, I can multiply the per week times the number of weeks. So if I go equals, so I'm going to change, actually I'm going to escape, I'm going to delete all these too. I'm going to redo this. So if I go equals, and I do 800 times my number of weeks, that gives me that. Well, so that's good. That's what happened, like 4 times 800 is 3,200. If I click and drag this down, it doesn't work. And the reason it doesn't work is when we drag down, it automatically references the one down. So this is referencing C14. This now references C15, which doesn't have anything in it. But I want it to always reference this cell. There's a way to make it always reference and not go off of the cell. And the way you do that is if I click in here, if I click up here in this little formula input bar thingy, now notice when I click on that, the cells that I'm referencing are put in a box. So I'm referencing C5. This is the blue one. It's got a blue box. This one's the red one. It's got a red box. So the red one is the one that I always want to reference. So what I can do is before the C, I put a $sign. And then I arrow over.
Just a reminder, if you're parked in the van parking practice area, please make sure you have moved your car.
They're doing band practice right now. Okay, so right here, I did $1 before the C, and I moved my cursor over, and I'm going to put $1 before this 14. So it's $C, $14. Those $signs say, hey, always only reference this one. So if I hit enter, so now the 3,200 doesn't change, but it's got $signs. Now if I click and drag, the numbers magically appear again, because if I click down here, notice it references C6, but it references C14 still. Same with this, same with this, same with this. The C14 doesn't change. So then it adds up like that. Okay, so that's referencing a cell. You can reference, so right now, let's see, let me get this out of the way. Right now, I'm only referencing things on this same spreadsheet that I'm working on, but you don't have to. You can reference on other sheets. So sometimes your sheets might be complicated. Let's say you have a company and you have quite a few employees and you want to reference like different things. Like say you have a sheet for every employee and you want to pull numbers off of different sheets. Well, you can totally do that. The way you would do that, like let's say I want to do this here. So I'm going to put a note here, referencing other sheets. Okay. So like, let's say I wanted, so I have this averages sheet set up. It doesn't really have anything in there. Let's say, I'm just going to put in first 9 weeks. I'm going to put a grade there. I'm going to put, say you got a 95. So like, let's say you're over on this sheet that we were working on. Let's say I want to multiply something times that, right? Or let's say I just want to move it over here. I want to use it both places. What I can do, like if we're referring to cells here, we just click on those, right? So like if I wanted to do this times 2, I would just click on it times 2, and that would be that. You do the same thing if it's on another sheet. You just go equals, and I click over to this sheet. I click on the box that I want to equal, and I hit enter. And notice now whatever's on this in this cell on this other sheet now shows up in this sheet. So we don't really need that for this. It has nothing to do with it. It's just that right here we were referencing cells that were right close to it on the same sheet. This, we're doing the same thing. We're just referencing cells that are on other sheets. You don't really need that right now. Okay, so this has been Excel part 3. We set up a little spreadsheet. We made it do math. We made it reference a cell that we always wanted to reference that same cell. And we clicked and we dragged formulas and we copied and pasted formulas. So we did a lot of stuff.